Hello and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how to add fractions. Now, fractions are always a difficult concept to really grasp when you're first learning it, but hopefully over time they become easier to deal with. Now, today we're going to focus more on the fractions that have different denominators, because that's where things get a little bit interesting. Now, they're not too bad because the first thing we always need to do when we're adding or subtracting fractions with different denominators is to find a common denominator. Now, the most surefire way of doing that is to take the two denominators you have currently, in this case 2 and 3, and multiply them. So we have 2 times 3. That gives us 6. Now this 6 here becomes our new denominator, or our new bottom number of our fraction. So essentially what's going to happen is instead of saying 1/2, I'm going to have something over 6 added to, and then instead of 2/3, I'm going to have something over 6 again. Now we need to find out what those are. And so let's move on to a different slide so I have more room to show you. Now the original problem's on the left-hand side of the screen for your reference, and this is where we left off. Now to find out the new top numbers that we need after we change the denominator, I need to look at our original function. So let's focus on this 1/2, and let's bring it down here. And I know that 1/2, when I change it to a denominator of 6, I need to find the top number that is equivalent, or what over 6 would give me the same thing as saying 1/2. And now the easiest way to find that is by rethinking about how we found our new denominator. How did we go from 2 to 6? Well, we multiplied by 3, right? So I need to do the same thing with a top number. I'm going to multiply it by 3. Well, 1 times 3 gives me 3. That's my new numerator. So we found the first one. 1/2 is the same thing as saying 3 over 6. We need to do the same thing for 2/3. So we're going to take 2/3. I'm going to bring it down over here. We have 2/3 equaling something over 6. Again, we need to ask ourselves, how did we get from 3 to 6? Well, in this case, we multiplied by 2. So I need to do the same thing up top. I'm going to take our 2, multiply it by 2. That would give me 4. That's my new fraction. So we have 4 over 6 taking place of our 2/3. So now we're set up in a spot where we can actually add our two fractions. And now how we do that is super simple. Add your two top numbers together. In this case, 3 plus 4 gives me 7. I do not add the two bottom numbers. That stays as it is. In this case is 6. So we have 7 over 6. That is the final answer to that fraction addition. Now I'll go ahead and write it out in a nice cohesive slide so we can see each step itself. So there was our original problem, 1/2 plus 2/3. Didn't know what that equaled. Well, first thing we did was we changed our denominators into a common one, which was 6. Pretty much changed our numerators to represent the equivalent of the original fraction. So 1/2 became our 3/6, 2/3 became 4/6, dropped down our equals, and then we added our two top numbers, kept the bottom the same. So now I'll have one for you to try. Let's see if we can get there. So for your example, we have 2/5 plus 4/7. See if you can figure that out. So go ahead, pause the video, try it. I'll now go over it. So same process here. We're going to find a common denominator because 5 and 7 aren't the same. And so what I'm going to do is that surefire method of multiplication. Now 5 times 7 gives me 35. This will become my new denominator. And now we need to figure out what's going to be the two top numbers. So we have 2/5 originally. We need to figure out what over 35 is the same thing as saying 2/5. And this method that I do is really just a visual way of seeing it. If it helps you, please do the same. Now, we got from 5 to 35 by multiplying by 7. So I need to do the same thing up top. Take that 2 and multiply it by 7. That gives us 14. So that's one of our new fractions. Was 14 over 35. Now let's find our second new fraction, which is represented by the 4 over 7. Let's figure out what our new numerator is. Well, to get from 7 to 35, we just multiplied by 5. So that's what I do up top. 4 times 5 gives me 20. So there's my new numerator for the second fraction. Now we're in a spot where our denominators are the same. We can go ahead and add our numerators. 14 plus 20 gives me 34. And then I have 35 on the bottom. And there is our answer. Hopefully not too bad. Now, I have more examples for you to try on the next slide. Got 4 extra practice examples. Feel free to try these on your own. The answers to these problems will be found in the description of the video. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something, and I hope you have a great day.